Donald Trump has not only declared bankruptcy several times, but he is also morally bankrupt. How's it going? My name is Hunter Avallone with Occupy Democrats. Welcome back to another video. Now, speaking to Trump being morally bankrupt, he continuously is hinting at running for a third term and disregarding the Constitution. These threats have once again been brought into the spotlight because recently Steve Bannon sat down with Bill Maher and claimed that President Trump is going to run for a third term and he'll be elected again.
The Constitution. Can I read a passage to you? Amendment 22. No person shall be elected to the office of the president more than twice. And yet you keep talking about Trump's third. Maybe you should have this. Here,
I'll get you to sign it backstage and underline.
I
Look,
will.
President Trump didn't bring up running for a third term. Myself and others brought up running for a third term. President Trump is going to run for a third term, and President Trump is going to be elected again on the afternoon of January 20th of 2029. He's going to be president of the United States.
To this day, Steve Bannon remains the greatest example as to why incest is bad. So while Trump and former members of his administration continuously hint at Trump wiping his butt with the Constitution, where do you think Donald Trump is? That's right. He's at the golf course. And just for the record, that means that Trump has now spent 25% of his second term golfing. Even more so with all the talk Trump does about cutting back on waste and gutting the government and all this stuff. According to a recent report, Trump's second term has seen a major increase in taxpayer-funded golf trips. These trips have cost the American public more than $26 million so far.
Trump has spent at least 18 days at his golf properties, 14 of them at his West Palm Beach club, funneling public money straight into his private business. Each trip comes with a massive price tag: Air Force One flights, Secret Service protection, motorcades, and security equipment, all paid for by the American people. Critics are calling it blatant hypocrisy and a clear conflict of interest, questioning why Trump's time on the golf course seems to outweigh his time in the Oval Office, and why taxpayers are footing the bill.
I swear, Trump is the laziest president ever. He screws over the economy, sends the stock market into a constant roller coaster, and then goes on vacation. It's unbelievable. But if you think that's unbelievable, it's nothing compared to what the New York Times has just exposed. Take a look.
The New York Times has just exposed Trump's latest military scandal, and it's worse than anyone imagined. In a jaw-dropping act of political censorship, the Trump administration has gutted the US Naval Academy's Nimitz Library, scrubbing out nearly 400 books that dared to confront racism, while keeping works that openly promote racist ideology. Maya Angelou's I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, banned. A scholarly critique of The Bell Curve, the notorious book claiming Black Americans are genetically less intelligent, banned. But The Bell Curve itself, still sitting on the shelves, untouched. Adolf Hitler's Mein Kampf, still available for checkout. The Camp of the Saints, a white supremacist novel embraced by far-right extremists, also safe. Under orders from Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth's office, Navy officials combed through the library, targeting anything critical of white supremacy or supportive of diversity, equity, and inclusion. This isn't about balance. It's about weaponizing censorship to normalize racism under the false banner of patriotism. Alumni, professors, and members of Congress are sounding the alarm, warning that banning anti-racist literature while preserving racist propaganda is not just ideological, it's dangerous. Admiral James Stavridis slammed the purge, calling it a betrayal of the mission to create resilient, thoughtful leaders. And the bitter irony: the library is named after Admiral Chester Nimitz, a man who once personally awarded the Navy Cross to a black sailor during World War II. Today, the Navy's leadership is dismantling the very principles of courage and justice that Nimitz once stood for, all to appease a political agenda that fears truth more than hate.
So long story short, any book that is racist is still allowed to stay. Any book that promotes diversity, acceptance, or even criticizes racism, it's gone because woke. Even more so, I can kind of understand why some Republicans might get a little bit worried about their kids reading certain books in school. Fine. But the Navy Academy, these are adults. I don't know what else this is other than thought policing. But the drama doesn't even end there, because the New York Democrat House Minority Leader also posted a video on his official House account on X attacking Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth as an extremist over the book removals.
These DEI hires in the Trump administration, like Pete Hegseth, the so-called Secretary of Defense, dumb effing individuals, continue to try to test our resolve and cancel our history. The latest is a book ban at the Naval Academy that removes works, including those about slavery, the civil rights movement, and the Holocaust. At the same time, keeping books written by Adolf Hitler. Apparently, for these extremists, racist Nazi ideology and white supremacy is okay.
The Trump administration continues its assault on free speech and continues to thought police full-grown adults. The stock market is a roller coaster. Trump is spending millions of taxpayer dollars on his vacations. Republicans, Trump voters, I gotta ask again, is this honestly making America great again?